All right, so Baruch Hashem, everyone, welcome to our beautiful Chabura. Today we're recording in Shirat Dovid, Baruch Hashem, Breslov Efrat, and we're in Likutei Halachos, Hashkamas HaBoker. It's Erev Shabbos, Parshas V'Eschanan, Shabbos Nachamu, Baruch Hashem, we made it. And we're in Halacha Dalet, and today we're up to letter Gimel. Okay, so it's lesson 4, and we're up to letter Gimel 3. So we're gonna I want to start with we'll talk a few things out because Rabbi Yosef was asking me some questions yesterday, and I wanted to think about how to present it to the Olam in a way that's easy to comprehend. So we know that the Rebbeinu Shalom, before creation of the world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made worlds and he destroyed worlds, and that was called the Shviras HaKelim. Right? Everyone familiar with that? Shviras HaKelim, right? And there were shards, which are called netzitzes of kedusha, that were scattered throughout the world, mostly in places of impurity. That's where most of the shards were scattered. And why were they scattered over there? The Zohar explains, because the Sitra Achar was very happy with this idea, because the whole point of our lives are to go around the world, and we have to elevate sparks. We have to elevate Netzitzes HaKadosh. That's our job. Now, if the Netzitzes HaKadosh were in places of impurity, and we're Jews, so generally Jews do not hang out in places of impurity, right? And where were most of the sparks sent out? Also, were sent into the desert, right? Into the desert. And we were in Gullus, when we went out of Mitzrayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us into the Midbar, and we actually spent 40 years in the Midbar. So we know we spent 40 years in the Midbar because of the Chet of the Meraglim, the Chet, and because of that we were in there for 40 years. But perhaps it's a little deeper than that even. And why did we have to stop in all of those places, right? We listed last week, we listed all the places, we listed the Masai, we listed all the places that we went and we stopped. And the Torah emphasizes so much on all the places. And then sometimes we stayed in a place for a very short time. Sometimes we were there for a very long time. We were there for a year. Sometimes we were there overnight and a month. And what is all of that? So the Zohar really explains, because in those places of the desert that we stopped, in those specific places, those were places of encampment of the Netzitzes HaKadosh that were scattered, and we came there and we were involved in our Avodas Hashem, right? The basic mitzvahs that we had was we collected the mun and we did it the way Hashem told us to do it, right? We went out and we did what we were supposed to do. We didn't take too much. We took for the day. When it came for Shabbos, we took 2 parts and so on. Right? Via us doing these mitzvahs, and then we made brachas and we put on tefillin and we did whatever we did there. Via doing that, we were able to elevate those sparks and lift them up. Now, those sparks that are in these places need to have an existence, right? Everything in the world needs existence. So where does it get its existence from? Where does everything get its existence? How does it stay in existence? There's something called Malchos Tatah. There's the Malchos Tatah. There's a Malchus down here. Malchus is the lowest realm of all of the Esser spheres. Malchus is the lowest realm. Now there are four levels. There are 4 levels of Malchus Tatah, connected the 4 worlds. Right? We have the Olam HaAsiyah, the Olam HaYetzira, the Olam HaBriya, the Olam HaTzilas. Right? So far so good. Right? Each now. The Malchus of Kedusha belongs to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's Hashem's, and it's really Kedusha. But the Kedusha, the Rebbeinu Shalom really takes care of everything in this world. He takes care, in other words, he keeps everything in existence, whether it's holy or unholy. It doesn't make a difference. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is taking care of in the existence of everything all the time. So these Netzitzes HaKadosh they are allowed to take a little bit of the Malchus of Kedusha in order to stay in existence. Because they need to keep their existence. So they need to take something from the realm of holiness even though they're in a place of unholiness, but they still need the unholiness needs something of kedusha in order for it to stay in effect. Make sense? Okay. So these lessons that we're learning here about getting up at going to sleep early, which is the first realm of the night, where the world is given over control to the Meitranus, as we learned about. And we learned about the concept that the Malchos Tatah is then almost in jeopardy at that time. Why is it in jeopardy at that time? Because the world was given over to the Meitranus. The Malchus of Kedusha is really, it's opened and it can be taken. So to say, it's open and it can be taken.
It's vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Oh, thank you. Very good. Very vulnerable. That's a beautiful word. Thank you, Yosef. David, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a vulnerable time. So therefore, it's very important when we engage. When we're supposed to engage in the Malchos Tatah in this world of things of mitzvahs and things that we do in this world. As we do the mitzvah in this world, we're connecting to the Malchos Ilah through the mitzvah of the Malchos Tatah. When we perform our mitzvahs in this world, that's us engaging in the Torah and the mitzvahs of this world. In this world, that's the Malchos Tatah. But via doing that, really the Chachma is Chachma Ilah, and it's from the Malchos of Elyoina. You understand? This is how it's going. So now, the whole point is, and this is really the lesson that we're trying to understand, is why we go to sleep at that time. Because we said when we go to sleep, at that time, when we go to sleep at that time where it's very vulnerable, so then we rely on the Emunah, right? Then we rely on Emunah, and we're going to see the words again today. Labakarim Chadosh Labakarim Rabbi Munasecha. The whole idea, and again, look where these teachings are brought in. It's brought out from Eicha. Again, it's the same concept. Where you would think Eicha is a book of lamentations, a book of wailing, of mourning. But look at the chizuk you could take out from there. Look at the chizuk that you could take out over there of these beautiful words, Chadoshim labakarim rabbi munasecha. So when I get up in the morning, I can get my full emunah. I can be attached to my emunah. Via being attached to my emunah, in the morning, I can then lift up the Malchos Tatah. Via my doing that. Now, and I think that was just did that help you, Rabbi Yosef? Okay, so let's go in. Let's see Dalet now, what the Rebbe has to say. I spoke enough, okay? This is the idea of getting up from our sleep. Getting up from the sleep again in that time where the Malchos Tatah is vulnerable. I have to get up now when it's past the Chatzos. When it's past the Chatzos, then the Malchos Tatah, this Malchos Tatah is now not as vulnerable because, so to say, the world was given back to the control of the Rabbeinu Shalom. Again, this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to do. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to give the world over to the Meitranus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to take the world back into control. He can do it any way he wants, but this is the way the Rebbeinu Shalom chooses to do it. So we have to have a Hisayrus Hashenik. Yikah Hashen Nimshach Mibechinas Zoysa Bechinas Shi Bechinas Malchus HaSeichel Tachtoin. Right, so that's where we get, like I tried to explain to you a moment ago. That's where our intellect comes from within Torah, and our avoda comes from this idea of the seichel tachton. She's smucha lechitzayim. This is still close to the chitzayim. It's still close to the klippos. It's still close to everything else because it's still in this world. So in other words, any time we're in this world, we always have to infuse and gain more emunah. Why? Because we don't know where we're going to be each day. We don't know what we're going to be engaging in. So we have to have our emunah fortified so we don't get infected by who we meet and where we go. Okay? Ki madrega achroina shel akedusha ki yadua. We know that the Malchos Tatah, This is the lowest realm of kedusha from the Esespheres. Sometimes it gets into the control of the other side, of the Sitra Acha. He gets control of it. Because again, if we're not going to sleep on time and we get involved in the wrong things, When a Jew gets involved in the wrong things, we put the Golas, the Shechina, further into Golas, because we are part, our neshama, the chelik elikom is attached to the Shechina, and then we put the Shechina in jeopardy. The Hainu shenefeles l'toich bechinas arba malchias, the four realms, the four malchias, the four malchias. The four malchias, we know these are the malchias. Okay, we'll talk about that soon. Shem bechinas chachmas chitzaynim. These are the chachmas chitzaynim. What's chachmas chitzaynim? Philosophy. Reading things that are not of the realm of kedusha. I'll just tell you something very interesting on this. I just remembered there was a great tzaddik, Reb Shimshon David Pincus. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was the Rav of Hakim, right? He was a amazing Eli. And one of the teachings I remember, I read through his svarim. I learned through his svarim, the most beautiful svarim. And one of the things I remember just now is that he said, we have a mitzvah of Mechias HaMolek, and it's incumbent upon every Jew. Mechias HaMolek is incumbent upon every Jew all the time. It's a mitzvah to me. It's a mitzvah that we have to do. But how can we do it? Even today, if we knew for certain that this fella here is an Amaleki, right? Because it's society that we live in, we can't kill him. We can't kill him now anyway. So what are we going to do? How can we be mekayim the mitzvah? So he explained an amazing idea. He explained like this: when a Jew is reading a sefer that was written by a tzaddik, right? So you think you're reading words. They're just words. It was written. The words were written. But he explains more than that. When we're learning the sefer here, Likutei Halachos is written by Reb Nosson. Right? It was written with all of Reb Nosson's avoda and his yegiya and his amelus in Torah. And everything that all of his being went into every single one of these words. And any sefer of Kedusha, that's how it is. The tzaddik puts all of his koiches, all of his essence into the writing. So we just think that we're reading something, okay, I read this, I read that, what's the difference? If I read this book, I read that book. So Rapinkus, he explained so beautifully, but it works the same way on the other side. It works on the other side. We know that that HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes everything balanced in the world, right? So when a person that's not a tzaddik, he writes something, right? So he wrote something. So again, the same idea. All of his riches, all of his tumah, all of his essence of whom he is and all of the things he's involved in is in his words that you're reading. So you think, what's the difference if I read this book, I read that book, I read this, I read that? No. Reb Pincus explains that is really how Amalek attacks us today. This is where Amalek tries to get us, via us having interesting books to read, and interesting articles to read, and interesting reports to read, things like that. So when we ever have an opportunity to pick up a newspaper, to pick up a novel, to pick up a book, and I really want to read it, but I say, you know something? I'm not going to do that. Rather, I'm going to take out my Tehillim. Rather, I'm going to take out my Shulchan Aruch. I'll take out my Likutei Halachos, whatever you say for it is. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to do that. That is actually affecting and destroying Amalek. Because that's how Amalek tries to eke into us via external things. So that's what I'm again, I went out, but just to help understand this. Bechinas Chochmas, here. Lizgaber, Sheheim, Roitzim Lahamchach ala Seichel Aleim. They want to make it that the Seichel, this Seichel, the Kedusha, they want to take it for them. They want more Kedusha. You know the expression, you give them a finger, they take a hand? Right? This is where it came from. In other words, these klipas in the world need to get their existence via the Malchos Tatah. So it releases to them a little bit of something to stay in existence, but they want more. They want more. They want to take more. It's the same idea with the Arabs, right? You give them a little thing, they want more. I want more. It's the same. Everything's a muscle for the nimshal. Everything that we live in our life, you can actually see it. They want to bring in their chachmas chitzonius, like we said, all external things, philosophy, and all kind of tumah, and all kind of things of I don't know, mabakach, stupidity. Nonsense. They want us to be engaged in that. They want us to read that. They want us to be affected by that. The
news.
The news. Yeah, the news. It's the word, yeah, the news. Therefore, we have to go to sleep. We go to sleep specifically at that time. Anytime I'm focused. I feel that I'm focused, and I can learn. I could do what I want, and I recognize Shivisi Hashem L'Negdi Summit, and I'm living that way. So long as I am, so I can use my time and my experiences to come to Asagas Elikus, because again, I'm connected at that time. Who mitzvah gedolish tamish imay kifi mashi yuchol. So then learn and do your avodas Hashem as much as you can while you can. Kolecha lefi erka, according to each person, according to his value. Everybody can learn on a different level. Everyone is on a different realm. Everyone should do what they can do to advance their avodas Hashem, their connection to the recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shivisi Hashem L'Negdi Summit. Aval k'shaseichel maskil lipol. But when the seichel when the person starts, he starts to get a little foggy in his mind, and he starts to get a little tired, and is not focused as well. Umisgabrim, Allah, bilbulim, and now he has some kind of confusion in his mind. He doesn't feel that clarity. He doesn't feel that connection. And now that comes from this idea of the Malchos Tatah, the Chitzonim are trying to attack him. They want to take his seichel that he has and is using improperly at this moment. They want to take it for them. They want to take it and be mishtamish with it themselves. So therefore now I have to go to sleep. And that's the whole point. I need to go to sleep. That's when I rest my mind. I'm not engaged in thinking. So if I'm not thinking of Torah, which means I'm not also thinking about other things that I shouldn't think about. I rest my mind. I can go to sleep. In order to put my mind at ease completely, that's where true good sleep comes from. In other words, some people can sleep very, very well, and some people don't sleep so well. Why do people not sleep well? Because again, they're involved in the wrong things, and they're looking at the wrong, and then their mind is thinking, and it doesn't let them relax. But again, if we take the advice of the Rebbe, when we start to feel a little tired at night, and I start to feel that I'm not as focused, and I say, you know what, that's it, I had it, I'm going to sleep now. And I say my Kriya Shema Lamita, and I do what I'm supposed to do. Okay, again, this is an avoid. It's not easy. This is not easy. But what, you want to say something, David? No, it's not easy to do because again, the Yetzer is very. He wants you. Well, you need to stay up longer for work. You need to stay up for this.
Prime time.
Prime time. But why is it prime time? This we're learning now. We're understanding why is it prime time. So the Rebbe is giving us the advice over here now, which is the greatest advice. When you feel that instead of saying, I'll watch a movie, I'll do this, wait a minute, no, I'll go to sleep. Let me go to sleep, so that way I can connect to the emunah that I achieve. I recharge my neshama each night. Via recharging my neshama, I can get up in the morning and it can be a rab emunah sech. I can have much, much more emunah. Does it make everyone understand this? Is this okay? Yeah. So far, the concept makes sense? Anyone want to have any comments? No, please, it's a chabura. Anyone wants to say something, please? Okay. Valkei b'shas shena haneshama hi shehi ha-seichel, the neshama, which is the seichel of kedusha, ba b'seich emuna. The neshama goes and it's now encased, covered with emuna. We see that beautiful pasuk again and again. Because at that time, when there's that confusion at night, I have to just relax my mind, and I have to just disengage, and I have to go to sleep. And therefore at night, by the time of sleeping, the sitra de maisa, the side of death, is shalit. In other words, we understand, and that's why, like we said, the sitra acha, the sitra de maisa, it's all one thing. Kemuva b'zayir hakadosh ki oz mistalek hachayim shenimshach ma'or upon him. At that time, it's mistalek the life that's coming me ma'or upon him. Or upon him is the same way of understanding chachma ilah. Right? It's sleeping. It's Gabrim Bechinas Arba Malchi Hashem Sitra Demaisa. Like you said, it's prime time, right, David? It's prime time at that time. So then the main way that I can keep my existence, that I can be a steadfast, strong yid, how do I do that? I need my emunah. Via saying the Kriya Shema Alamita B'Kavana, via saying it the right way, I realize it's all you, Hashem. I forgive everyone. Like the Arizal says, it's very important to make sure I forgive everybody for anything possible before I go to sleep. Right? That's part of the Havas Chinam, right? That's part of the beautiful program. Right? Shehi Bechinas Emunah. That's Emunah. Because I realize that anything that happened to me during the day, and anyone that wronged me in any what way, I realized they only wronged me because it was the Ratzon Hashem. If they did wrong me in any what way, right? Any what way. It was only because Hashem wanted that to happen, to see what am I going to do. He was testing me. Because at the time that the Chachma Shehem Klal Kol Minei Bilbulim Sheyesh L'Chol Adam Shebaylam, that's all of the confusion that's to everybody. People feel confused. They don't see, they don't recognize the Shivisi Hashem L'Negdit. They don't recognize that they're with Hashem. They think for a second they're by themselves. They're stuck in their basement, they're stuck in their this, in the car, wherever it is, and they think, Rabbi Yosef showed me yesterday, he has a beautiful thing. He has in his car a nice message that he writes down on his, remember that Hashem is with me. Beautiful, right? But that's an amazing idea. But when we have Bilbulim and we don't know that Hashem is there, we're not recognizing that because of the confusion. Again, these are all the tests that Hashem is testing us. What are we going to do when we feel that? Am I going to engage in the things that I'm trying that are trying to be brought on my mind, or am I just going to go to sleep now? This is all part of the program. That all of those bad thoughts and the strange thoughts and those crazy thoughts and those ideas that come into the person's mind, they're all coming from the aspect of klipa. They're all coming from the husks of impurity. They want to attack the person. They want to take control of the Jew. Shehem Arba Malchis, that's the Arba Malchis, Shehem Bechinas Chachmas Chitzonius. Again, the Reb Nosson is trying to drill this into us because this is so important that we know this. This is so important because we all dealing with this all the time. When they're coming and they're trying to enter in to the realm of the person's seichel, as I tzrichin l'salek hadas legamre, you have to then put my mind totally at ease. Lismay chalamunah, again to come to rely totally only on emunah. Shezeh bechina sheina, that's what sleep is. That's what real sleep is. That's what true sleep is. Shu istalkas hadash ozban neshama b'seich emunah k'may shekasav v'makemacha in lesson 35. So again, why is that? In other words, when I go to sleep, perhaps going to sleep is my greatest demonstration of trusting in Hashem, right? Because again, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to, if someone's going to break into my house, chas v'shalom or not. I trust that I'm going to sleep. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. But I trust. I go to sleep. Hashem, you're taking care of everything. You're controlling everything. I realize it's not me that I'm controlling everything. It's not me that I'm protecting everything. I realize it's you. So it's really a demonstration of emunah when I go to sleep and I trust in Hashem. That's a demonstration of emunah. Because I trust, and that's how I can go to sleep. If the person is worried about everything, he can't sleep. Is that right, Yeshua? Would you say that?
That is correct.
Right? If the person can settle his mind and he just can detract from all of the stuff that's upon him, he can have just calm in his mind. That's the best way to go to sleep. Is that right? And why is that? Because that's emunah. That's emunah. Now the Rebbe says like this. Now you think, wait a second. So hey, I'll sleep. Sleep is good. I want to get more emunah. I want more emunah. Let me get really involved in this emunah. Right? But don't sleep more than you need.
You just stopped at the last paragraph.
If I only stopped at the last, no, Rav Nasser. No, that's what this is a sefer emes. These are true words, Shaka, right? Okay. Okay, so therefore you have to make sure you sleep, and everyone knows what they need. Some guys need 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever you need, you need, and that's what you get. You don't need to take more because it's been proven to me over my life that every time I sleep longer, that day I'm more lethargic than I am on days that I sleep less. It's unbelievable. I don't know why. I can't understand it. But I find that. And that's what gives me the chizik to get up at night, because I realize if I'm going to do that, I'll have more energy during the day. Not the way the Sitra Achra says, no, if you don't sleep enough, you're going to be tired. Those people that sleep a lot, they're always tired. They're always going to be tired. Therefore, get up like the vigor of a lion in the morning. To break the sleep, because now I need to rely on emunah. To be engaged myself in Torah and Tefillah as a Malchos, in order to separate, to lift up the Malchos, to take it back from them. In other words, all these other people are not doing the right thing, but when I get up and I do this the right way, I can then make the Sitra Achra give back what they took even from other people. Or I can make him return that. To understand Asagas Elikus. Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit, and that's why the Shulchan Aruch puts together with this Gabe Kari Elamai Baboiker, he puts together with Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit. Because how can I get up in the morning like an Ari? How am I able to do that? I'm able to do that when I recognize that Hashem is with me. When if I'm just thinking I'm in my bed myself, and I'm all by myself, so then it's hard to get up. But if you recognize Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're with me? You're with me, Hashem? And I'm not going to make you wait, Hashem. I have to start my avodas Hashem. So that's why it's so important. That's why Nassim is telling us again and again this idea. Why is getting up in the morning like a lion and Shivisi Hashem together? Because this is what you'll need in order to get up. Because now you'll be able to attain. You'll be able to be masik, to understand the Elikus HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ad Sheyeshaver Oisa Yisbarach Lenegdoi Summit, where you can actually equate that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with you wherever I go. Mamish to feel that. Mamish to be able to feel that. The more we work on it, we have to work on it. The more we work on it, the more we're in that gather of understanding the Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, and that's the most tranquil thing to have, to know. People feel good when they have protection, right? They have security, and have this, they feel comfortable, right? But those are just people. They can make mistakes. When I realize Shivisi Hashem, you're with me. You're protecting me all the time. You're with me all the time. What could be more comforting than that? What could be more comforting than knowing wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I'm always with you, Hashem. Hashem, you're always with me. That's so empowering for us to recognize that recognition. And not to forget that for even a moment. Not to forget that for a moment. So, listen, I just want to say today is also Tu B'Av, right? Which is one of the it's brought down in the last mission in Tainus, right? It's brought down that on this day, on Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur, were two of the greatest days of Simcha of the Jewish calendar. And the question was why. So the Mishnah goes on to explain to us that we know that at that time, the Jewish girls would go around and they would dance, and the guys would pick their kala that they wanted to marry. And the Mishnah explained the beautiful ideas that no one wore their own dresses. All the girls always would borrow dresses from everybody, anyone else. The Mishnah goes on to say that the Bas Melech would borrow the dress from the Kohen Gadol's daughter, and the Kohen Gadol's daughter would borrow the dress from the Skan Kohen Gadol, and so on and so on. Everyone, when they would borrow jewelry and everything else, why? Because those girls that didn't necessarily have, and they had to borrow. They wouldn't feel bad that they didn't have, and they had to borrow, because everybody borrowed. That was the minig in Klal Yisrael. And where did this really stem from? Because we know on Tu B'Av, when the Bnei Tzlavchad, when they came, Mamash today, when the Bnei Tzlavchad came to Moshe Rabbeinu and asked Moshe Rabbeinu, what's going to be? Can we marry anyone in Klal Yisrael? And the Rebbeinu Shalom gave the answer, yes, we can marry anyone in Klal Yisrael. And that's what brought Klal Yisrael closer together, because all the Shvatim were originally marrying only within the Shevet. But then there was separation. Each Shevet would marry within his Shevet, and he wouldn't go to any other one. But this was the day that really Klal Yisrael was brought together with an Achdus. And because of that Achdus, it's a mamash a day of simcha to recognize the Achdus. Does anyone else want to say anything on Tu B'Av? You see anything?
No.
No?
I was in the middle of reading something, but Bezos Hashem.
Okay.
Later.
All right, Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. So everyone, anyone have any questions, any comments? No? Wow, we have a quiet group today. All right, everyone, a wonderful Erev Shabbos.